record on this computer, so pretty sure we're recording now. So don't say anything that is incriminating. Give them another 2 minutes, and then we'll jump into TikTok Talk.
TikTok Talk.
I know. It's definitely going to be a very beginner's TikTok Talk, but I got a chance to do a one-on-one Zoom call with, I guess he's the content manager, kind of brand manager for TikTok, and he was my A&R when he worked at Orchard with the hieroglyphics, and I noticed through LinkedIn that he got this job at TikTok, so I was like, ooh. And I sent him a message, and he hit me back, and he jumped on like one of these one-on-one with me, and he probably thought I was a complete idiot because I was just asking him like all kinds of questions that he was just like, dude, you can just look all these things up. So luckily for you guys, I asked him a bunch of these questions already, and you won't have to. But at the end of this, and at any point, if you have a specific question, feel free to just fucking jump in and interrupt. What do you think? Should we wait a little more or no? 302, I'll give him 305. We'll give him until 305.
305, dude.
Pretty reasonable. Let's see, who else do we have in here?
I like that new challenge you started, Kevin.
Oh, the long distance bubble.
Long distance bubble.
What's the challenge about?
Just how the reggae bubble, I'm trying to do like a keyboard way far away and a keyboard way far away and keep the bubble going.
My arm span isn't too wide. I don't think I can pull it off.
Fun.
The keyboard challenge is how many keyboards can you guys get up on the stage? Rick Craft plays with like 6 keyboards. I'm like, dude, you're not even touching those you're touching like 3 of those keyboards. Like one time you hit one of the buttons on it. That's it. Let's move this. Well, while we wait for a couple of minutes, I can tell you some more good news. We got approved today for a very cool TikTok partnership, which is extremely limited. Right now, they said there's only 500 kind of parties within this partnership. And basically what it is it gives us access to not only running ads on TikTok, but getting profiles verified on TikTok, which is really cool. It gives us access to the most ridiculous set of back-end analytics that I've ever seen. I was like, I don't have hair, but my hair was like fully up when I was watching this thing that he was showing us. A whole bunch of other crazy stuff that he was just throwing at me, but most importantly, that I was like, whoa, we can get profiles verified, which I thought was interesting. And it's crazy how limited amount of like brands and bands are actually utilizing the TikTok advertisement platform right now. So it's just such a small amount of inventory, which is nuts considering they have 2 billion users and only like a couple hundred people that are using the platform for advertisements. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And Nima at Verticals, he got the account set up with them. I don't know what the fuck he told them, but they approved him, and they so we're in big time with them. So that's going to be a huge advantage. So I'm excited about that. And actually another cool thing that happened today. Oh, Thomas. Oh shit. All right. You guys, Thomas is here. So remember what we talked about, and no messing around. Now that he's here, no fucking around. Okay. Just like we practiced. Okay. He's loading. He's loading up right now. And as soon as he's in, we'll get started because it's 3:05. And anyone else that joins, they can get going. T, can you hear us? Yeah. I see a picture that says Thomas Cousins. Oh, he's on mute, I think. Smart move, T. Never seen Thomas on mute before. Oh, there he is. Yes. Now we're official. What up, T? Probably recognize some faces in here. Can I bring attention to the fact that even Thomas, the head of multiple different organizations internationally and nationally and in Russia, is still in here trying to learn about TikTok. That alone should be enough to tell you that this is a serious fucking thing, and you guys are here right alongside him. One of the many benefits of Music Business Club. We're not separated. We're all in here together, learning together. All right, we can get started now that Thomas is here. So, a few things. First of all, it's important to note that this is very much a beginner's guide and intro to TikTok. I've been spending a lot of time and a lot of research going down the rabbit hole and beyond convinced of its importance. And that's why it's almost like this sense of urgency. There's all these other classes that I wanted to start with, things that probably I'm a little bit more comfortable with and have a little bit more knowledge on. But I just feel like every single day that goes by that we don't have these conversations is a day potentially lost. So this is kind of where we're starting. At any point, if you have questions, feel free to jump in. And again, at the end, I'll send you a quick recap of all the different shit that we're talking about, right? So what I want to start with is, what is TikTok? Okay. I feel like if they just changed the name and had a different name, like other than TikTok, it might have been taken a little bit more seriously, just because for me personally, I didn't, it was just hard for me to take it seriously because of the name. And I'm like, TikTok, nah. But upon further review, forget about the name, forget about the algorithm, and just forget about everything that you know about TikTok. According to TikTok, TikTok is a destination for short-form mobile videos where you can capture and present the world's creativity, knowledge, and precious live moments directly from your phone, which is pretty cool. To me, the best way that I've been describing TikTok, and in partially joking but very much serious, is that TikTok is the new internet. I'm literally saying that, and I don't care if I'm wrong later, but I feel very confident in saying that. And the reason that I feel that way is because generally we go online, we use the internet for a variety of main purposes, but most of which are to research something, to communicate with someone, to create something, to engage with someone. And all of those things are done on and around the TikTok platform. And it's for sure, in my opinion, very different than any of the other platforms, so to speak, that we have access to. And I'll go over, why it's different and why I think it's not necessarily like a Snapchat or a Vine or, some of these ones that maybe you've seen here today and gone tomorrow. It's kind of like a mix of, let's see, I made a nice little note. It's a mix of iMovie, Snapchat filters, WhatsApp communications, Facebook communities, Pandora's intelligence, and YouTube's highway of information, all meshed into one funny sounding platform. And they have just this completely different philosophy. And this philosophy, which I'll go over right now, is, in my opinion, the reason why they're going to take out everybody except for maybe YouTube. So all the other platforms that exist are focused on you as a user staying on their platform, right? If you go on Instagram, you upload something to Instagram, or you create something, you upload it to Instagram, and they want you to stay on Instagram, right? If you go on Facebook, right, and you have a YouTube video and you try to take that YouTube video and you try to post it to Facebook, Facebook buries that inside of its kind of algorithm, right? It's like, it's like a rival gang. It does not want YouTube's links inside of Facebook. And TikTok is the complete opposite. What they want is they're encouraging you to create content on TikTok with their editing tools and filters and all this cool shit that they have. And they are not tripping if you're not posting it on TikTok. What they want you to do, they want you to take this content and share it on all of your other platforms. Share it on your WhatsApp, send it to your girlfriend, send it to your mom, make it a private thing. They don't care as much. And because of that, if you start to pay attention, what you'll see, if you haven't already seen this, is that a lot of the content that you're seeing on Facebook and on Instagram and even on YouTube is actually created on TikTok, which is very interesting. And the big brother of TikTok, which I would say is YouTube, not in any relation, but originally, right, you create something, you upload it to YouTube, and then you can take a link and send it to someone, or you could take an embed and add it to your website. So the thought of something like that had already existed, but this is just a, smaller snackable version of that. And the following other reasons I'd say are, to me, the urgency that we're like, oh, why do we need to talk about TikTok right now? The following other reasons are, attributed to that. So it is the most advanced, hyper-focused set of artificial intelligence brain that I have ever seen. Like, it's beyond YouTube, beyond Pandora, beyond anything that I've seen. And maybe, like some people say, it's because it's owned by the Chinese government and they're spying on all your shit. Very possible, because there's really almost no other explanation for how they can just know me better than me, right? And so after the first 30 minutes or hour on TikTok, which you might just get, dances and, all kinds of stuff that you're not as into, if you could survive that and just, keep kind of scrolling, you will be blown away by how accurate it is regarding what you're into. And it doesn't even matter if anyone knows that you're into it. Like, for example, the content that it's showing me after learning about what I'm into, whether it's something I've searched on YouTube or Facebook or typed in Messenger, is so specific. And I hadn't followed anybody or liked anybody's, things or anything like that. And because of that, I literally, for the first couple of days, have not been able to put TikTok down, because I'm just like, oh my God, this is so interesting to me. And it learns about you. So if you happen to be into Smurfs like David Parnes, okay, and he doesn't want anyone to know about that, but secretly he's super into the Smurfs, like it's like his favorite thing, right? TikTok knows that shit, David, and it told me, okay? And it's probably going to start showing you this in your timeline, and with kind of the ability to continuously learn. So it starts off very broad, probably showing you, again, dances and all this kind of stuff, but it slowly but steadily becomes extremely hyper focused, and it learns what you're into and what you're not into very fast. So as a consumer, as someone that's watching it, it becomes very addictive very quickly. And it doesn't matter if you've liked or clicked something or if you're following something. That does not matter at all. What matters is how long, first of all, what you're watching and how long you're watching. And again, I don't know, I don't work for the FBI. I don't know the extent of like their ability to track all your other stuff. But if you're using a phone, you're using a computer, you're using any of these other social media platforms, most likely you're already being tracked. So, if they're tracking us, they're going to learn how to use TikTok. They're going to learn how to, build an active fan base. They're going to learn a bunch of stuff that we're constantly talking about, and that's completely fine. But the ability to learn, like, and just, think about how much time, at least for me, when I'm sitting watching TV, when I used to watch TV years ago, I would spend so much time just actually clicking through the channels or going through my on-demand to try to figure out what to watch. That is completely eliminated. Let me admit this person here. That is completely eliminated with this, because it begins to learn, and each time it gets better and better. And as you, even as your interests change, TikTok will change with you in a day-to-day, day-by-day basis. So the things that it was showing me 2 days ago versus what it's showing me even today are slightly different. And the only way that I can just even understand that is because of the fact that they're encouraging you to create this content on their platform and share it on your other platforms. They must be putting some kind of pixel or something in there to be able to like track, and see and hear like whatever else that you're doing and whatever else that you're talking about, which in this case to me is fine. Okay. The next thing is that for me, it encourages creation from, again, the TikTok platform to the other platforms, and it makes it so simple and easy. It might look complicated, and later on I'll show you kind of, how to figure it out, but it makes it look like, this crazy fucking trick that you're doing, but it's like the equivalent of a MacBook I don't know if you guys have Macs as your computer, but when you get a Mac or an iPhone, it's so user friendly that like after you figure out how to use it, you're just like, oh shit, yeah, duh, this is exactly how you do it. And it creates those tools for you that are built in that makes it super easy to edit anything, create content, and share it on all your other platforms. And I think that is just throws away the need for an iMovie or this editing software or this separate kind of thing. And there is a theory that, you know, I haven't necessarily been able to confirm that they want you to create some of your content with their creation platform. Even if you're uploading something, add a sticker to it or add something to it from their, you know, kind of plethora of different things that they offer. Theoretically, they want you to do that. It does make sense. I have not been able to confirm that. Next thing is the global organic reach that TikTok has already as a young, you know, platform is ridiculous because I'm talking China, India, Latin America, like, and of course the US, North America, everywhere else, but specifically, you know, some of the most populous places that generally have been falling into the YouTube category are all over TikTok. 2 billion downloads within, you know, a very short amount of time. They just hit 2 billion downloads, which is nuts. It's completely, you know, completely unheard of prior to that. And not only that, it's still at such an early stage that you do have this organic reach by being on TikTok, not just locally, but everywhere. And I think that's a big advantage over, you know, Instagram or Facebook, especially to where, you know, certain places like China are not, you know, they're blocking it. You're not on there. Even with YouTube, a lot of places, potentially there's certain things that you'll, you know, say not available in this country. So the global organic reach is unreal. And since there's still this early kind of what's called early wave, there's an opportunity to join and experience some of that like early benefit. So for those people that joined Spotify way early, right, their playlist and their interaction, their engagement, significantly better. Same with SoundCloud, same with Instagram, same with all these different platforms. And this, since it's the new internet, the new highway of information, this is also at that point right now to where if you're in there and you're taking advantage of that later on, and every single day there's more and more people that are joining, obviously, and, you know, trying to figure out how to use it. And as that's happening, you will potentially have this advantage. And the last thing is the fact that it's when you're on TikTok, you are super hyper engaged because you have to have your volume on, you're watching, you're listening, and you're doing while you're on TikTok. So as a consumer, if I'm watching something or I'm watching a video or I'm, you know, listening to something on there, I'm very much engaged as opposed to sometimes on YouTube, I'll just put something on and leave it on in the background almost like it's a Spotify and just let it play. I'm not necessarily like sitting there and watching. And with this, you're not only getting this organic reach, but you're getting this hyper engagement because of how short everything is. So you're getting an extreme hyper engagement from your consumer. And again, all of those things combined are why I really, really strongly feel like it's the new internet. And it's something that is going to be the biggest tool and asset to build your brand and engage, like actually engage one-on-one like this without physically kind of being there. So we can talk about that forever, but I want to move into the very basics of kind of getting started with TikTok. At the end of this whole thing, we'll talk more about why I think it's different, and we can kind of go into some of the specific questions. But in terms of getting started with TikTok, there's a few phase one things that I think are extremely important. And for some of you guys, you probably, if you already have your TikTok, you probably already have some of these things set up, but some of them you might not. Okay, so the first thing is just like with the internet back in the day, we used to go, and Thomas is the king of this, he used to go and grab domains, literally just grab, some.com and try to buy them and hold them because they would have a certain value, right? And what's happening on TikTok right now is there's a run on usernames. All these kind of different usernames, since it's so new, there's a run on these usernames. And I'm not saying go out and grab a bunch of other people's usernames, but maybe you should. If you think there's a username that's not taken that you think might fit your niche or might, benefit you in some way, you can go ahead and grab that. And even if you're not on TikTok and you have a brand or a company go ahead and grab your username. Even if you don't post anything or do anything, just go in and take your username. Because if you don't, first of all, it's probably already gone. But if not, go in, grab it, save it, hold it. The next thing is the very basic profile picture, bio, and link to your Instagram and your YouTube. Right now, those are the only things that as a beginning talker that you're allowed to do. And as you gain more followers, they will enable more features for you, such as actually hyperlinking, like you can on Instagram. You can actually have a link in bio. They will give you that access as you're growing and as you're getting more followers. But create a picture, add a basic bio, just so that way when somebody comes to your page, even if you don't have any content on there, they can actually see that, okay, this is your page. Cool. All right. And the third thing, this is something that most people have not done, and it's really important, is if you have created your profile, in the top right corner, if you're looking at your TikTok, the top right corner, there's 3 dots. Okay, you're going to click those 3 dots, and you're going to go to Manage Account. Okay, and when you go to Manage Account, there's an option, if you scroll down, to switch to a pro account. I would recommend that everybody switch to a pro account. It's free. The reason that I recommend that you switch to a pro account is because it gives you a certain amount of analytics and a certain amount of data that you don't get as a regular account, because you're not really tripping on it. If you're just using it as just a regular person, it doesn't really matter. You don't care. But as a business like us, or most of us, it does matter. And the analytics that it gives you is similar to those that you'd get from YouTube in terms of understanding your traffic source, where people are coming from, who's watching, who's clicking. And I would definitely recommend, at the very least, even before you post anything, before you do anything, you do those main things. You get your profile picture, make sure that it doesn't say user 425559 as your headline, put your actual name. Get your bio in there, like for me, it put, bodybuilder and model, and, connect your Instagram and your YouTube, because those are the 2 things that you can connect to it right now. Okay. That's phase 1. Boom. We got that done. Phase 2 is understanding the basic feed. Okay. So unlike Instagram or Facebook, and kind of more similar to a YouTube, you have this feed. Okay. The feed is broken down into 2 main departments. If you look at the top of your feed, you'll see the one department says For You, and right next to it, it says Following. Okay. So the For You page is probably the most important part of your feed that you'll see, because you don't need to follow anybody, like anybody, or do anything for content to pop up in the For You section. Once you click follow on somebody's profile, then they will start popping up in your following section. So unlike most other profile or platforms, which are encouraging you and trying to kind of ranking you based on who you're following, what you're following, etc., TikTok is not. Okay, you could be following absolutely nobody, and your For You page will still be popping. And TikTok gives most of your content, especially at this early stage, an opportunity to pop into the For You page for other people. So if you've been on TikTok for even a couple days and you've posted a few things, you'll probably see that you're getting, 20 views, 20 views, 20 views, and then all of a sudden something that gets 300 views, right? And you're like, whoa, what's happened here? No, there's no likes, nothing on that. What's happening is TikTok is taking this piece of content and dropping it and testing it on the For You page for other people that it thinks, that hyper intelligence that it has, the artificial intelligence, it's popping it in there and testing it out and seeing not if anyone's clicking and liking it, but if they're watching it and how long they're watching it for. So if you have a really short video that's 30 seconds or 15 seconds, maximum is a minute, and someone's watching that for 30 seconds for at least half the time, then TikTok's like, okay, you might be, this person might be into that. I'm going to now show this to other people's For You page that are similar to this person. And you'll start seeing a bunch of people that are hashtagging For You, this, That's all bullshit. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do anything other than as you're posting content, your own, and as you're looking at content, you will see that your For You page is like the main freeway of TikTok. That's really like where it's popping. Okay. So there's those two feeds. It's not chronological. It's not anything other than on the For You page, who and what TikTok thinks you're going to like. And a lot of people, what they're doing is they're literally reposting the same videos that they see are getting great interaction. They're reposting them again because TikTok is now knowing that, okay, this video did well. I'm going to repost this for you again. Now, on the following side, that's a little bit different because on the following side, let me chat here. Okay. On the following side, it's the profiles that you are following. And for me personally, I'm not subscribing to any channels on YouTube, but on TikTok, I do follow certain profiles that either A, I know, or B, have won me over in the sense of content that has multiple, probably 2 or 3 videos that I've seen that I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I'm going to go ahead and follow it. The basic premise before you post anything is spend some time on the For You page. And again, get through that initial phase of like, you're going to see stuff that you don't like. If there's something that you see that you don't like, you can actually hard press it and click not interested. And that will, again, immediately tell TikTok, yo, I'm not interested in this dancing. I'm not interested in this, or I am. All you have to do is watch it if you are. If you're not, you can just swipe up and go to the next video, or you can hard press it and actually click. It's like a broken heart that pops up, and that tells TikTok that you're not interested in it. Cool? Moving on. So understanding the actual platform, and this is, again, before we're going into posting, before we're doing anything, it's important to know that it ranks credibility over popularity. Okay, so let's talk about what that means. It doesn't mean you're some kind of expert in anything. What it means is, let's say I love dogs, okay, or puppies, which is true. And let's say I post a video or picture of my dog and it's, eating up my couch, et cetera, and a hashtag puppy love, right? In the mind of TikTok, that is a credible video. It's something that is legitimately real. I'm not doing anything or saying anything. I'm saying puppy love, and there's a dog that's eating my couch or whatever, right? So it ranks credibility over popularity. And as a user, in terms of what I'm watching, that's how it's able to continue to show me videos and profiles and whatnot, even if they don't have a whole million or 1,000 or any followers. If they're posting the type of content that's credible, that TikTok thinks it's credible, it's easier for it to match to me in my For You page. So understanding that it's not about, okay, how do I grow my TikTok, to get a bunch of followers, or how can I, rapidly ascend to this like viral, sensation. It's more so, how do I create content that I'm putting on here that the person that's watching it watches for the longest duration of time. There's multiple ways that you can do that, including keeping it very short and to the point. Like, you can say something in 15 seconds that, instead of a minute, right? And if it's short and somebody's watching a short portion of it, that already is telling TikTok that it is engaging to that person, okay? And that is how you can start to rank yourself and your page and your content higher. And when I say higher, I just mean it gives it a better chance, gives TikTok a better chance of dropping you in somebody else's For You page. So in terms of content creation, just understanding that it ranks credibility over popularity, understanding that, like, on Instagram, let's say I have a model or, a bodybuilder or whatever, and I'm extremely popular, but I'm not necessarily credible in any way, because all I'm saying is, hey, look at me, look at my big muscles, right? As opposed to on TikTok, it's like, hey, look at me, I'm doing these push-ups, 5,000 push-ups every single day, and this is how I'm getting these big muscles, right? So it ranks somebody who has a lot less of, likes, views, et cetera, based on what it's seeing that you're doing and the type of content that you're putting out, over someone that has more views and more likes. And that's why most people think that it's, you know, kind of based on these dances and things like that, because if you're not an expert in something, right, if you're not an actual expert in something, then it's hard for you to get that credibility as a you know, a creator, right? You have to do some kind of other shit. You got to dance around, you got to do something. And if you do have an expertise in something, maybe you're a photographer, maybe you're a videographer, maybe you're an artist, you know, maybe you're a speaker, whatever it is that you are, if you do have some credibility in terms of understanding what kind of content to post and how to utilize your platform, I would highly recommend sticking and starting with that. Even if it's just motivational things or things that you're thinking about and you're kind of posting already. And again, since I know a lot of you guys, I can have, I kind of have specific ideas based on what what I see you guys posting on your social media anyways. You would stick to your normal routine of what you're doing, but essentially, if you're putting out content that fits the how-to category, how to play a riff on a guitar, how to pick the right lens on your thing, how to upload your music to Spotify. If you're sticking to a how-to kind of, type of content, you will see how fast, I'm talking matter of days and weeks, how fast your, not likes go up, but your views go up. And it's something that I've seen just from the point of watching and seeing, like, as I'm scrolling the things that I'm into, and again, this is after the dance moves are over, the people that are really winning on TikTok are scientists, historians, economists, anyone that actually has a skill set. Like, there's this kid that I follow who I don't know where he lives, but I got these iPads and I don't know what the login is. I forgot my user ID. And he's all about, putting out information of how to log in or hack into an iPad without having the user ID or without having the iCloud information, right? And his page, I don't even know if he realizes this, okay? His page is so popping. Thomas and I went to school. Does that have an engaged audience of followers increase your chances of getting on the For You page? Yes. Having an engaged audience absolutely increases your chances of getting on the For You page, most definitely. However, it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? By having content that is informational, you can then get into the For You page, which will then help engage your audience. Because starting off, we don't have any audience at all. So it's very difficult to engage with an audience that's not there. And so the way to get into that is to put out this type of content that is, and this is just one sector, that is very much how-to based. And even if you don't have a how-to, you can actually start learning from the other people that are on TikTok and take that same information and kind of apply it. Small tidbits that are, very clear, very simple, very digestible. And for somebody else, that will then create that engagement. And in terms of how do you get into the For You page, the fastest and best way that I've seen so far is not the dance moves. It's actually this how-to niche. It could pertain to anything that you do. But since it ranks this credibility kind of over popularity, these how-to videos and the kind of idea that teaching is the new marketing, okay? Like, teaching is the new marketing. So by teaching something and somebody learning something, now potentially in terms of how do you monetize and transform that over, is you now have a chance to teach them something and win them over as a potential client. So if you're a mixing engineer, a producer, an artist, again, a promoter, the list goes on and on and on. If you have any kind of expertise, which most of us have an expertise in something, and you start putting that out there, on the one hand, it's like, am I giving away these secrets or whatever? I'm going to say no, because even if someone knows how to do it, if they know how to do it, doesn't mean they can do it. But you then pop into the For You page, and then the engagement and interaction begins. Somebody's interested in more information. Somebody might leave a comment for you at that point, kind of, asking some questions. And same thing goes for you. If you are interested in engaging other people on their profile, you're engaging them and you're asking, questions. You're literally able to ask the biggest experts in whatever they were doing. Like the example that I was making was Thomas, and I went to college with this kid, Gordon, who ends up being this like expert in mushrooms, not the kind that you're thinking, not the magic mushrooms, but like actual like mushrooms and the different kind of effects that they have, and for medicine and for food. And he goes out into the jungle and finds these different things and like cuts them open, and the shit oozes out of them. And he's like, I don't know what it's called, but it's some special scientist, fungal, whatever the fuck. And if you go to his, there it is. Yeah, thanks, T. It's in the chat box there. Fascinated by fungi. If you go to his TikTok, look at his fucking TikTok. You guys. It's just unreal. We're talking 86,000 followers, hundreds and thousands of views on his videos. And I don't know if he realizes this or doesn't. It's just him putting out the type of content that for most people, for me, would be boring as shit. No chance I'm watching this stuff. But if somebody's into it, then they are all about it because it's informational, it's credible, and it's popping up into the For You page for people that are, that are into that. And that's just like a really good example of, how to start your TikTok journey. And the coolest thing about it is, as you're doing this, all of this stuff that you're creating, you can still be posting on all of your other platforms, right? You don't have to, I'm just going to, what do I make for TikTok today? Or what do I do for Instagram? No, you can just take the content that you're making, that you're creating from one place, post it, and post it on your other socials as well. And you will see the engagement across the board. And again, as you're doing that, you'll start to notice like how much content is actually made on TikTok and, goes onto the other platforms. That's right. He used a random band song on one of his TikToks that has 756,000 views from one of this fungal fucking mushroom posts. Okay. This, call it a random band. It is a random band, but for that random band, that's probably more views than anything that it's ever gotten damn near combined anywhere else. To the point where me and T were talking about it. We're like, yo, who's this band? Like, what is this? Of course he sent it to us, and we noticed the number of views there. And I don't know if he understands, Gordon, I don't know if he understands the power that he has. We're like, hey, can you slide in a stick figure song in one of these things? Or, can you drop in a Mike Love McDiddley and your Collie-Budd's Blind to You Hater Mushrooms or something like that? Like, we'll get into the sound and how it's specific to, to our industry in a few minutes here. But it's unreal how the how-to niche and the credible niche is so much more popular than the kind of dance move around niche. Okay, so the next thing in terms of engagement, right, engagement and interaction, are these specific tools that TikTok gives you that to me are off the fucking chain. Now, let me explain. So if you're watching TikTok, okay, you're scrolling through TikTok, any video that you see, this is not any video, you could set your privacy to a certain thing, but any public video that you see, you can click it, okay? When you click it, again, there's gonna be these three dots on the bottom right-hand side of it. You can click those dots, and then it gives you a whole bunch of options, some of which are save this video, some of which are copy link, some of which are comment. There's three tools in particular that, again, to me are just game changers, okay? The first one is called React, right? You'll see it in there. You'll see it once you click it. It's pretty much on most of them. It's called React. What it is it pops up that video for you, pops it up into your feed, like into your post section. And now what you're doing is you're recording yourself watching and reacting to this video. So if you're sharing, half the messages that I have with my friends and colleagues are just me sending them funny ass shit, them sending me funny things, for example, right? And this is a way to do that, but also your reaction to that, right? Because if we're really interacting and engaging with each other, that reaction is the reason why we're sending that to somebody, right? If I'm sending Collie-Budd's a funny meme, or if I'm trying to, send him something, it's his response and reaction that that I'm missing out on. And with this, you're not missing out on that. I'm sending him myself watching, and I'm sure you've seen YouTube videos and other videos. They're just called reaction videos. The reaction videos make it possible for anybody to take any of your content that you've put up there, watch it and react to it, okay, and share that, right? Because if I'm reacting to a new song, or if I'm reacting to, tutorial or just a funny thing, I'm sharing that. I'm more likely to share that. I'm super engaged at that point, okay? The second one is called Duet. So Duet is kind of similar to React, except for instead of it being like a picture-in-picture that pops up, it's kind of like the Zoom, to where it's the original video and you right next to it, and you can either go at the same time, or you can have this go and then you go. So if, let's say there's Bud singing a song, or doing something, Blind to You Haters or whatever, and I could be right along next to him singing a verse right next to him, or he could be talking about something, and then I could pause him and then I talk about it. I even could look at him like Brady Bunch style, like, hey, like, Bud's what a crazy guy, like, what the fuck's he doing? And again, it allows you as a consumer to take any of the videos that are on TikTok, okay, and duet with them. It doesn't mean you're singing next to them. It just means that you're right next to it, talking, pausing, talking. And again, it gives you a chance as a content creator to put out the type of content that would hopefully appeal to your audience in terms of them wanting to duet with it, right? And I'm seeing it more and more and more, and I'm doing it. I can't, it's like just naturally, I'm like, oh, sick, this is tight. And a lot of times for me, it's like, it'll be like a Gary V video, right? It'll be like, Gary, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I'll be like, listen, this is fucking unrealistic. Like, I'm not going to just eat dog shit and do whatever you say to do, it's kind of, it's almost like I'm interacting with that person. And what I've seen just in the last couple of days, which I thought was funny as hell, is I follow this guy who is an impersonator, and he impersonates Gary Vee, and he's funny as shit. Okay? He's super funny. And he keeps duetting with Gary Vee. Like, Gary Vee will do his thing, and then this guy will duet with him and do, he's kind of mimicking him and doing the stuff. And it got to the point where Gary saw this shit and he's like, what the fuck? He's laughing at it. And again, you're able to interact. You saw this guy. Yeah, he's funny. You're able to interact with it's like if I got to interact with Stephen Curry or LeBron James or someone, that to me is like, oh, cool. I'm a super big fan of, and they saw me and then they responded to me in that same way. It encourages other people now. There's 50 new people now that are doing the same thing, right? Which is good and bad, but the point is it creates engagement and interaction. The third one is called Stitch. These are all going to be there. So any video that you click, the little three dots, you'll see, these options that pop up, unless the video is set to a certain privacy. Certain one is called Stitch. And with Stitch, what it allows you to do is it allows you to take any video that's on TikTok, any clip of that video, and it allows you to cut a certain portion of it and almost have like a back and forth conversation with that. So it's like Cardi B sitting here, and then, Mother Teresa sitting here, and like they're almost like having a conversation with each other because you're able to stitch them back and forth. You can insert yourself into that, and it just creates like a hilarious and or informative way of engaging and interacting with that content, both from the perspective of a consumer and a creator. If I'm a creator and I understand those three tools that are there, and you'll see how many more people start using them probably in the next coming weeks. As a creator, if I understand that these tools are there and I'm creating the type of content, even if it's not necessarily a how-to, but I'm creating the type of content that encourages somebody to stitch and or react and or duet with me, it increases that engagement and that interaction even without dropping into the For You page, right? So those are just three of like a variety of tools that that they give you that are built in. And there's I'm going to say hundreds of filters, effects, voiceovers, stickers, like so many things that are there built in, both for you to use as a creator and as a consumer with the full engagement process. Just say it 3 times. So the 3 dots are, if you pull up any video on TikTok, okay, if you go to your TikTok and you have your TikTok open and you go, click home, okay. Sorry, it's not the 3 dots, it's this arrow. It's right underneath the 3 dots. So there's this arrow kind of thing that pops up, right? If you click the arrow, you have all these different choices that pop up, right? And you'll see that one of them is not interested. It's a broken heart. One of them is duet. One of them is react. One of them is add to favorites, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And that's where on the top you see share to. There's all these different platforms and other other things that you can share to, and underneath it are these kind of tools. So that's where you'll find the Duet, React, and Stitch options. So in terms of the tools that they give you for engagement and interaction that are just built into the platform without having to, like before, if I wanted to react to a video, I'd have to like go and find a video, film myself watching the video, get this video, edit it in there, picture in picture. I'm not doing that. There's no chance, right? But now I definitely am and have been on my personal profile. Most of it is just funny. It's like me watching, just silly things and like just reacting to it. I'm just like, I can't believe it. There was one thing I saw where this lady, this homeless guy comes up to this lady and he tapes this quarter to this like stick and he's putting it inside of a parking meter and boom, it's charging. I'm like, what the fuck? Is this real? I'm reacting to it in this like, whoa. And people are responding to me and they're like, yeah, this is real, but Eeks, this is a federal crime. Do not do this, right? I'm like, oh, okay. All right, well, now I got to weigh the cost-benefit analysis of if I want to do it and if it's worth it. But the built-in engagement tools, both from the creative side as a creator and as a consumer, are right there. And now after I did that, I can go ahead and take it and put it on my social media anywhere else, on YouTube, on whatever it is. And a simple call to action of, hey, here's our new music video. Would love to see your reaction, right? We're always asking that. We're saying, what do you think about this? Which song is your favorite? We're asking that question. And this now is a tool to allow us to kind of, take that a step further. And if they see you as a creator reposting their reactions, just like Gary did, right? Now everybody's going to start doing that, right? It's going to just be this wave of engagement and interaction. And so without getting into the For You page, through these basic tools of Stitch, Duet, React, all of the different kinds of effects, the voiceovers, like so many different things. And they actually have a pretty cool amount of templates that are pre-built. So when you are on your homepage and you click the plus button, it gives you a few different options. One is 15 seconds, one is 30 seconds, and one is templates, okay? So if you slide over to, if you hit the plus, okay, and you see your face, one is 15 seconds, one is 60 seconds, and one is templates. If you slide over to templates, you will see that they have already kind of created a couple of these different kinds of templates that all you need to do is populate the photos into and potentially add a voiceover for some of them. And this is just a super simple way of creating something that's really cool and using it and putting it out there. So for those of us that run, let's say, somebody else's page, or for those of us that run our own page, even just taking one photo of yourself, okay, and putting it into like one of this very first one that's called, the second one that's called film, where it's just this like film kind of going up and down, and there's a song playing behind it, like, is enough for that to be a piece of content that could live anywhere. It could live on your social media. It could live on, TikTok. And it's so simple and easy to make. And they create these and they update these, relatively frequently. And so again, the idea of engagement and interaction and how to get to that point, like, it's one thing to say, yes, on Instagram, absolutely, you want to have engagement and interaction, but it's very difficult to do that, right? Even on Twitter, I could retweet you. On Instagram, I can't retweet you. I have to use a whole separate like program or software app to take your shit and, put it up again. And here they give you such an opportunity to, to potentially do all those things, even to the point where just in the last week, they introduced a new one, which is really cool. I like it a lot because for us, we get a lot of questions that are asked. And those questions aren't necessarily questions. They're just comments, right? Someone might be like, oh, what kind of guitar are you using? Or what, just whatever. They're asking questions. And you can respond to those questions with a video by clicking on the comment section. And by, as you're going to reply, you'll see right next to the reply, there's a red camera that pops up. And what it does is it populates the question on your screen as a sticker. So you don't have to repeat the question or anything. It'll say who it's from. And you can actually just then record a video of, a video reply to that question or comment, which again encourages more people to comment. And a super funny thing that I heard was, someone's like, hey, how do I like one of the questions to like this TikToker guy was, hey, how do I double my comments, right? And the guy was like, well, easy. You just respond to all the comments you got. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's interesting. Of course, yeah, that's a good way to double your comments. If you have 3 comments, you respond to all those comments. There's 6 comments now. But it does work in that way to where you yourself can, spur some engagement from that person, continuing on. Okay. So let's move on, because I can, again, talk about the content creation side of it forever, right? User-generated content is a huge part of TikTok because there's already so much user-generated content within the ecosystem, whether it's from other social media platforms, YouTube, or whatever, depending on what kind of level you're at. And a lot of that user-generated content can be repurposed for TikTok without you having to create anything new, especially if there's something engaging or cool. If there was a cool performance, that clip of you, if there's some kind of clip of your interview, something of yourself or somebody else that you're into, a lot of user-generated content, even if it's like a cartoon or a movie clip. Like I know that like, within the Neffable office, we're big on movie quotes and things like that. And, sometimes we'll send each other gifts and movie quotes, things like that. Repurposing that type of content to fill in your ability to create content without having to go out and create more content is also very successful on the TikTok front. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is hashtags. Woohoo! Hashtags. Okay. So hashtags for TikTok and for everywhere are crucial, right? We know that. But understanding how hashtags work with TikTok will allow you to organically target who you want to see this content. This is from the perspective of the creator, without having to pay for any ads. Okay. So here's what I mean. First of all, the caption space that you get when you're posting something, I believe, is only 100 characters long. So you don't have a lot of space to type a whole fucking paragraph of all kinds of. You have a very tiny amount of space to get in what you want to say. That includes anybody that you're tagging or anybody that you're hashtagging. Okay. So what they suggest is a maximum of 3 hashtags that you use, and you try to do the following things in no particular order. Number 1, when you click your plus sign on your, on your TikTok, and let's say you get to the screen, just for the sake of conversation, you get to the screen to where you are about to post something and you have an opportunity to actually type in, some kind of information. Okay. You get to this screen, right? When you hit the hashtag button, it actually says hashtag, or if you type in the hashtag button, what you'll see is you'll see a couple of hashtags that pop up that have a blue thumbs up or a red fire like emoji next to, and then you'll see these numbers next to them. So right now, there's Celebrate Nurses with a red fire emoji with 96.6 million views. There's a cartoon character hashtag with 142.6 million views. Finals at Home, 460 million views. So what TikTok is telling you is that these are the trending hashtags, okay? And the only reason that is important is not, again, I'm not big on let's try to fucking use these trending hashtags to go viral or anything like that. However, if there's something that fits, that can fit the hashtags that are trending, and you utilize it properly, it will help you. And I'll give you an example that's relevant to the music game, okay? We all know music is released every Friday, right? We all know that. New Music Friday is a big hashtag in general, and usually I'm not really going on that hashtag to search that hashtag just because I don't even care. However, with TikTok, if Thursday night at midnight, okay, you have a new song that just dropped, right, and you post it, right, and you do use that hashtag New Music Friday, theoretically, it gives TikTok a really good opportunity to drop you into the For You page for somebody, not that's clicking the hashtag New Music Friday, but that is looking and listening to music. And, again, they're following your Spotify, they're following all of your other outlets. So they know, because they know you better than you know you, and they will populate that, not guaranteed, but they will populate you potentially. You have a higher chance of getting populated for that particular person at that particular time. Another example is Mother's Day, right? It was just Mother's Day. Everybody's making these Mother's Day, kind of videos and pictures and things, right? Great time to use a trending hashtag that fits your content, right? Most people will just try to take whatever the trending hashtags are and add them to their video on TikTok because they're like, okay, yeah, I know these are trending, cool. And they then just take them and add them, which doesn't do shit because it doesn't fit whatever they're showing, right? There's no way it hits all of those fucking, different hashtags. It's just silly, right? However, maybe one of those does fit, right? And not only that, even before some of these hashtags become trending, we know Mother's Day is coming up, right? We know that. So we can go and start potentially utilizing a certain, let's say you have a song, like a lot of people have songs that, they're about moms and things like that. If you know that it's coming up and you try to catch a hashtag before it's trending, as it's on its way up, you also potentially put yourself in a position to benefit from that when it hits. So if the week before Mother's Day, I'm like, okay, Mother's Day is next week, and I bet, you kind of have to do some guessing, within that. But if you try to catch some of these hashtags as they're coming up, you also have a good chance. And what I would suggest is almost just as you're posting to keep an eye on what these trending hashtags are, only use them if they fit your content. And don't worry about it otherwise. What you actually should be more concerned about is searching hashtags that don't have millions of views, right? Search hashtags that fit your content that that have thousands of views or maybe hundreds of thousands of views, but that fit your content, because then you have a better chance of popping up in the For You section for somebody that is into that. It doesn't mean they're clicking that hashtag and searching to find you like on Instagram, right? Like on Instagram, I'll go to reggae music hashtag and I'll scroll through just to kind of see what's in there. Or I'll go to Collie Buds hashtag and I'll scroll through to kind of see what's in there. This doesn't mean that. This is more so like tags and keywords are on YouTube, to where if TikTok is thinking and has matched somebody up with the fact that they love puppies and you're posting something with a puppy and you're hashtagging puppy love, even if they've never clicked puppies or puppy love or anything like that, it might pop up for them in their For You page. So hashtags give you an opportunity to potentially target the end consumer that you're going after. And it might even be as simple as a location, because a lot of times, like being specific with the location, depending on, or an event, right? Like big hashtag, I don't know if you guys know this, but I was blown away. If you guys search the hashtag Cali Roots on fucking TikTok, it is out of control. Like I'm talking millions of Cali Roots Fest, Cali Roots X, California Roots, like the different variations of these different things that over time, over the last X amount of time, and TikTok's, is relatively new, that people have used, and most of those are legitimate, like people that are posting themselves, or they're not trying to like get the tag trending or anything like that. But if you have something that might fit within that hashtag, right, it could be an event or a place or location or something of that sort. That is also a great way to try to target with hashtags as you're posting. And the most important thing on the hashtag shit is don't overthink it and don't overdo it. I like to own a hashtag. So again, if I'm an artist, Collie Buds, most of my content, of my 3, I will include the hashtag Collie Buds, okay? Because I'm trying to make sure that anybody that TikTok has identified as a Collie Buds fan has a better chance of seeing this, even if they're not following his page. And his, he's doing his own thing on TikTok. He actually is the reason that I found out about it. He's been telling me about TikTok for over a year. Like if you look at Colibud's first post, it's a year ago. Like he's in there actually using it, and his daughter's got a TikTok, and like she's probably showing him how to like do this shit. But specifically with the hashtags, one of my favorite things about it is that it's your chance when you're posting, when you get to that final point, to try to target organically who the person is that is going to see it. Keep it to 3 hashtags and make sure that you're not going crazy with it. And another like tip that they've said is, since there's only 100 characters that are available in your caption, go ahead and be the first person to comment on your own shit. Totally fine. It's not weird. It's totally okay to give more context to what's happening, because within 100 characters, I can't necessarily express everything that I want to say, especially if I want to hit some hashtags and I want to hit some ad tags and I want to, have more than 2 sentences. It's not necessarily possible for me to, have everything in there, but go ahead and put, be the first one to comment with more context about what's in, your video. And I've seen that work, and that's actually helped, because I'm like, wait, what? I don't really get it. And I was going to ask, I'd go to the comments and I'd just, I was going to be like, yo, I don't understand what you mean. But then I see the first comment is the creator explaining further, like, what he had in mind. And now I'm almost responding to that person's comment, and, it starts to kind of grow from there. So with hashtags, definitely go and spend a little bit of time just for your own idea and understanding on the search. If you just click search, your little magnifying glass, and you'll see a bunch of different hashtags every single day. There's different trending hashtags, and there's different hashtags in general. And the biggest and most popular hashtags are not what you think they are. They're things like mental health awareness and, eating right. And just like things that like are cool and popular. In terms of how many posts can you make a day, there's 2 schools of thought here, right? The first school of thought is post as much as you can, but post as much as you can if your content is engaging. Because if it's not, if it's the same picture of, let's say, a particular engineer's face, not going to say who, if it's a particular picture of a particular, of someone's selfie, same selfie 11 times, maybe the first 3 times I'm into it, but like the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 11th time, I'm not going to be as engaged with that content. I'm not going to watch it as long. So it's actually going to hurt me, right? Now, if I have 11 posts in a day and they're all 30-second quick tutorial tips about how to use some kind of new effect or mixer or microphone or whatever, then absolutely, because each one of those, if I'm into one, I'm probably going to be into the next one. I'm probably going to be into the next one. And that's when I get sucked into this kind of rabbit hole. So if you can find a balance of posting consistently, but posting content that's engaging, then you will rapidly grow. It will reward you for posting more, because each time you post, those couple of views that you get added up. They get added up. And one of the biggest tips that across the board that they've told me over and over again is, do not delete your TikTok posts. And here's why. Because it might not be like on Instagram, to where when you post something, or Facebook, if you don't get that engagement right away, it's not going to happen, right? Like, you don't get comments and likes, and it's not going to get shown. It's not going to, end up in like the discover page or any of that. On TikTok, it could be a week or 2 later, right? And then all of a sudden you'll go to one of your posts and you'll just see that it went from 30 views to 3,000 views. Yeah, I'm sure it's happened to me. It's happened to everyone, because TikTok will give every single one of your pieces of content a chance. It might not be right now because it doesn't feel like there's the right opportunity. And even if it drops it in there and it doesn't perform, it will give it another chance, because of so many people that are joining and are in there consistently. And as it learns about all those people, and as it learns what they want to see, it will continue to try those different things. So if you leave your post, don't worry about it. And I do this all the time. I'm over there like refreshing, like, oh shit, 3 views. Woo, colleague, got 3 views. This is still 6 views. And he's like, whatever. And then all of a sudden, if you just forget about that, I go back to one of my videos and it's got 1,300 views. And I'm like, 1,300 views? I've had Instagram for 10 years. I haven't gotten 1,300 views damn near combined on my videos, from all the posts that I've made, like, ever. So if you just give it some time to settle, and since it's not chronological, like most of the things that we're kind of used to, then you have any one of your pieces of content has a chance to jump into the For You page. And that doesn't mean it's going to go viral. It just means that it's going to be shown to someone that might be interested in it, who then might start watching or listening or, following one of your other pieces of content. If there's something personal or something that violates the, kind of the, the law, or, just you're embarrassed about, then yeah, go ahead and take it down. A lot of times, what I use TikTok for is I will use it to, take pictures of my daughters and and I will just post it, but on private. So that way the only people that see it are people that I send it to. So you won't see it pop up in my post, which, because, I'm using it as like a civilian. I'm not an artist. However, I'm still sending it out to different people that I want to see it for. And there might be certain posts that I might be like, damn, this was, this is what I looked like 3 weeks ago or 3 years ago. I'm not as comfortable with that. I might private that post and, reopen it. In terms of good quarantine hashtags, one of the best ones that I've seen is hashtag stay home with me, or just stay home. And that is across the board from TikTok to YouTube. I'm noticing that hashtag specifically, like they're promoting this hashtag heavily because they want to do their part in trying to, get people to stay home. And it's almost like if you search it, you'll see stay home, let's say, with me, and then there's a whole list of things that pop up, like stay home with me cooking, stay home with me dancing, stay home with me, and it's like just you're staying home and you're doing and learning these things, with somebody. Absolutely. The very important part about posting your content once you're ready to post, especially if it's a video, is two kind of factors, video and picture. Number one is you pretty much 99% of the time want to have a giant piece of text, and I'm sure you've seen this, kind of looks silly, a giant piece of almost white text that you put over, not the top, not the bottom, but damn near the middle top of your content. Because if you do that, when somebody comes to your page, and then you can, if you add that text, and then you can select cover just like you do on Instagram, you can actually, right underneath your little picture where your post is, you can see it. It'll say select cover. You can click that and you can slide your kind of thing over to exactly where you want it to be. Because when somebody comes to your page, without them knowing anything about you, they're going to give your feed a quick look through, and they're going to read that text, right? And if it's interesting to them, if it says, how to use TikTok to engage your fans, right? For me, I'll be like, okay, this is interesting. I would definitely be into this. If you don't have that, you might not even get the 5 seconds of time, for somebody to do that. So in terms of your thumbnail, just like on YouTube, you would have, you want to have a particular thumbnail. Here, it's more about having a very clear, like, couple words that are almost describing, or kind of, it's like a headline, or, like a hook for somebody to know what this is. And if you have a 60-second video that says, how to use, let's just say, just for example, keywords, which keywords do you use to tag your YouTube videos, right? For example, let's say you're a nerd like me and that's what you're into. And within that 60 seconds, the first 10 seconds, I'm like, well, here's what you do. You go to your analytics and then you do this, and that's it. And that's how you do it. And there's still 40 seconds left. I'm out of there already. I'm gone. I'm not going to stay for the whole 60 fucking seconds, right? So at that point, you either want to shorten your video and just keep it 15 seconds, or if you have a 60-second video and there's something that you're trying to put out there, try to wait towards the middle/end to reveal what that is, so that way you're able to keep that person, with you for that period of time. And again, TikTok makes it super easy to do that because of all these filters and this. All of a sudden it's jumping, and I'm like, oh shit, what the heck? I don't even know what's going on. And then, you hit them with whatever it is. If you hit them too early, then I'm off. Boom, I'm scrolling to the next video immediately, just naturally. So you want to make sure that you're always using text in the middle. And the reason I say in the middle is because if you go low or high, there's copy and caption. Too low, it'll be covered by words. And up high as well, there's a bunch of stuff like, I don't remember exactly what it is, but there's, there's wording at the top that and you'll see it. Some people's, in mine, I've done this too. Some people's like text gets cut off, and then you can't even necessarily read what that is. So for sure, I would recommend as like a, example, if you go to the Real Music Business Club, or sorry, it's just at Music Business Club on TikTok, you'll see that like I've picked certain parts and certain text that I'm trying to highlight that I feel like if somebody is interested in this kind of thing, they would potentially click and watch one of these videos. And even though I only have 36 followers on there, like most of my videos are averaging, 300, 150, 400. They're averaging a pretty decent amount of views. And then there's a couple of them that all of a sudden, like for example, the boiling pot of water one, which I could have done better in selecting the cover for. and the, kind of credibility as an influencer's currency, some of these ones got, at way more, 1,300 views, right? They got a lot more than some of these other ones. So when you're posting, if you're sticking to making sure that you have text and making sure that you have cover selected, you can have that opportunity to where somebody arrives at your page or sees your content and they can determine if they want to watch it or not. Okay. It will be reposted. I mean, I might cut it up a bit, but if if you have to leave or if you have other stuff to do, then most definitely don't worry. And I will follow up with a email with some of the bullet points of what we're talking about, along with accounts and videos that I think you should follow. The biggest one that I always suggest is TikTok's TikTok. Okay, go to TikTok's TikTok and scroll to the bottom, and you will in 10 or 15 minutes be able to, not be a master, of course, but you'll be able to learn how to edit something, how to use these different tools. That's why I'm not really spending too much time on that, because at the end, I'll give you those, TikTok's TikTok, or search hashtag like TikTok tutorials. And there's so many really great influencers, call them whatever you want. And I had 2 of them lined up for this, but we decided that probably be best that we do our beginners stuff first, and then we bring them in, next week or whenever else, the next one is. But let's move on here, because the next part is really important to understand, because it's called sounds. Okay. So sounds are critical in the TikTok ecosystem. And I'm specifically saying sounds because it's not music, it's sounds. For example, there's 2 ways that a sound ends up in the TikTok ecosystem. One is you've released a song, for example, and you have a label or distributor, and that label or distributor has delivered that song to TikTok just like it would to Spotify, just like it would to anywhere else. So majority of your songs that have been officially released are already in TikTok, which is really cool. And the second way is, even if it's not an official release, but let's say you're recording yourself either talk, or you're recording a video with some music playing in the background or anything like that, whatever the audio that accompanies your video, whether it's speaking, dogs barking, ducks quacking, whatever it is that's happening within that video, is now an official sound. Okay. And if you look at every single video, no matter what that video is, on the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little spinning, little kind of record player type of thing that's spinning. And you can go ahead and click any one of those, and you will see all of the different videos that have been created using that sound. Okay? So every video, no matter where you are, even if there's nothing going on there, every single video has this record that's spinning there, and you can click it and you can see who is using that sound, and you can also use that sound yourself. You can click the use that sound, and I've seen some very creative ways that people are utilizing that, in the sense of, it might just be, a cool Samuel L. Jackson quote, or I don't know, Martin Luther King, or just some kind of quote audio wise. And now I'm using that sound and I'm just kind of lip talking over it and just kind of doing a funny thing, or using it to explain something, or to be inspirational, motivational, teaching, whatever. And it's very important, especially for us as a music business club, it's very important for us to understand the sound side of things. And it's much more than the beginners portion. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it, other than explaining that, number one, when you're using a sound as a creator, if it's an official song that exists, I would suggest, as you're doing it, even if you have music that's playing that you want to specifically use, because sometimes the sound that's in the system is a very specific portion of a song, and that's not the portion that you wanted to use, I would still suggest that you go find that sound, add it to your video, and you can click volume and mute it. So that way your original volume is still playing, but the sound that's official is spinning. So if somebody clicks it, the culmination of those things over time will, potentially make a song go viral, or, call it whatever you want to call it. But if you're just going with your own sound, even if, let's say, I'm doing a music video or I'm watching, doing something on my TikTok and Love and Reggae is playing and that records into my system, which now it's considered an original sound, even though that song is already in the system. Since I didn't select that song when I'm posting the video, it's now considered an original song. So it's just separating your, kind of ability to show both TikTok and the world that, hey, I clicked this fucking Love and Reggae and there's 1,000 different people that have used this sound, okay? So I'm going to give you a real example, and, I'm sure some of the people that I talk to on a regular basis already are aware of this, but a couple weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, I think it was now, there was a song that came out on, on iTunes and Apple Music and everywhere else, and immediately it was number 1 on iTunes Reggae, right? So on singles, right? Above Bob Marley, above Shaggy, above everybody. So I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. This is crazy. I've never heard of it. My initial thought was this person bought this single himself thousands of times just to hit that number 1 spot, which is sometimes what people do because it's kind of like an advertising thing, right? So I'm like, okay, I didn't pay any attention. Day 2, it's still number 1, right? So now I'm like, damn, okay, what is this? Day 3, it's still number 1. At this point, I'm getting frustrated because I'm trying to figure out like what this is. This person is not even a person. There's no catalog. There's no fans, no other releases. Cannot find them on Instagram or any social media outlets. And only on like day 4, as I'm scrolling through TikTok, do I realize what this is. Because when I finally clicked that song on iTunes just to hear what it was, I was damn near pissed off because it didn't have any words. It was just a beat. And it sounded like my daughter made this like beat on her iPad, like straight up. It was like, I was like, what the fuck is this, right? But music is subjective. And the point is that it became so popular as a sound on TikTok where people were using it for these different things, millions and millions and millions of views, right? That this person, maybe it's even TikTok that's spoofing us that did it. I wouldn't be surprised. But whomever this is then released it on iTunes and everywhere else. And it's number 1, okay? Shaggy's below it. Bob Marley's below it. Even the Mighty Stick Figure, which, if you release something, I bet he could surpass it. But, everybody else is below this one song, which is crazy. And it shows that, the power and impact of using a sound and getting it going to the point where it's not like this viral dance happened. It's not some influencers came in and started doing this dance. No, it's regular people using this sound so much that it began to trend and began to be popular. And then influencers like Will Smith and whomever else, definitely like free flow sessions. Exactly. So that's a good example. If there's a band like Stick Figure who has the most loyal cult following, like cult in a good way, not a bad cult. There's good cults and bad cults, right? The good cult kind. And if all of us as Stick Figure fans realized and understood that just by every one of us, every member, every person, I don't know how many people are members of Stick Figure family nowadays, but maybe T or someone could tell me. But if, I bet it's 40,000 or some ridiculous amount, okay?
9,000, I think.
How many?
I think it's 29,000. Right?
29,000. Okay. If every single Stick Figure family member posted the free flow sessions sound to their TikTok and used even the original sound that like they uploaded, and then everybody clicked that one, spinning circle and reused it, that alone would blow the song to bits. And not only that, it would then translate to Shazam, translate to Spotify, translate to iTunes. And even if that song isn't on there, right? Because the song's called Siren. It's still up there in the top 3, I think, top 2 maybe on iTunes, for example, and everywhere else. 6 million streams in 2 weeks, right? Or something like that for, on Spotify. The power that a very few amount of us would have to actually impact, a song like that. And it's not just in our genre. I started paying attention to it more because when I saw that within our genre, but if you go to hip hop, okay, or urban R&B, every single fucking genre is impacted by this. Songs and sounds that are doing well on TikTok are translating over to the DSPs. And that's because you have this major discovery that's happening and major engagement that's happening. And it's not about doing something that's going to then, go, viral immediately. Like J-Boog's Nice to Know You is another one that's up there. But the thing is that Pia Mia, right, who's, popular on TikTok, redid the song a while ago. And she has been pushing this dance thing for a while, pushing it. And it's still not above Siren, right? And J-Boog has fans, like crazy catalog, tours, and, is an amazing actual real artist, right? So it's like, it just shows the power of the discovery that TikTok has and how it applies, specifically within our, music industry side of it. And we'll get more into, how to leverage sounds and how to utilize them properly at for a later class. But for now, just pay attention to what sounds are trending, what sounds are featured, okay? And even if you're an artist, sometimes I suggest go ahead and use one of those songs that's specifically either featured or trending, mainly featured really, because what that means is that if TikTok is featuring a sound, there's usually some kind of either payment going on as opposed to trending, which is a song like picking up steam. And if you're using either a trending or a featured song in one of your videos, just like with the hashtags where you sometimes check the trending, hashtags and see if that fits, you then potentially have a better chance of popping up in the For You page. And I tried that out myself to where when Tekashi 6ix9ine released his song, whatever it's called, I put some funny makeup on, a filter, and I used that song, and I hashtagged it, and boom, that video overnight 650 views. No followers, no anything, because it does make sense that that's how it's utilizing. And so sometimes you can. Happy birthday to whomever. Sometimes you can, get lucky, but sometimes there is a sound that fits. Maybe it's Drake, maybe it's whomever, that fits whatever your content is. And even though you're your own artist that has your own sounds and songs, once in a while, go ahead and just try it out and see what happens. And just be mindful of the sounds. Okay. A few other just kind of like important things in terms of when you're posting, I would suggest shooting vertically, just so that way when you're shooting, you have your vertical shooting and as you're doing that, shoot vertically. Try to, again, edit your content on TikTok, on the TikTok platform, even if you're just using stickers or something else there, definitely try to do that. And in terms of the homework, okay, for you guys, number one is spend some time on searching and just going through the content and liking stuff that you like and not liking stuff that you don't like. And that's okay, because the faster and more you do that, the more TikTok learns about you and the more interesting that the content that it will show you. But specifically, go and follow 100 other accounts, right? Like go and follow 100 other people that you're interested in. Don't do it like just randomly. Do it based on what you're interested in and engage with them, right? Leave a comment, ask a question, try to be a part of the community, because if you want to have an engaging audience, you need to be also an engaging audience member. And by doing so, you will see that the biggest fucking most popular motherfuckers are going to respond to you, right? Most of the time, which is crazy. Like I've been asking, all these questions about this stuff, and boom, they're responding to me, right? And to not all the time, but you will see that they're responding to you. Play around with the filters and the ability to post different things. And again, go to TikTok's TikTok, for example, and spend 5 or 10 minutes, because remember, these are short clips, and learn how to edit and how to use these filters, and you will have a lot of fun doing it, and it'll actually make your content creation process for the rest of your social media ecosystem way better. You'll see how much easier and better. You won't go back. And if you're searching how to TikTok hashtags, TikTok tutorial hashtags, if you're engaging with other accounts that you might be interested in, and leaving comments and things like that, and you're actually spending some time on seeing what other people are posting, not to copy them, but just to see kind of what is working and what is not. After you get through that surface level dancing bullshit, you'll see that the people that are really winning are the credible outlets that are putting out valuable information. And they're not necessarily worried about, are you following me? Smash the subscribe button or any of that shit. they're just focused on what they're doing. If it's just you singing a song, if it's just you putting out a certain lyric, and just play around with it. Does the size and shape of video pics matter when planning to share on other platforms like Instagram? It does matter because, of course, every platform is different. But one of the cool things about TikTok is it gives you the opportunity to resize something, to whatever size you want. And actually, this is something that nobody knows about that I think is really important. Is TikTok secretly just released a new app in the midst of all this, and the app is called Via Maker. VIAMAKER. I'm going to type it in here. Via Maker. I would highly recommend you download this app. And because this app to me I almost like it better than TikTok, because what it is it is all of the editing abilities and filters and cool fucking content creation stuff that you have from TikTok, but outside of TikTok. So if you have a video or piece of content that you want to make or create or resize or change or add audio or add effects to or add filters to, this is your go-to app for that. And I've actually been using it for almost everything that I do. And it's great because sometimes I don't want to post something to TikTok, right? I don't necessarily want to make a private post, or I just want to resize something. It's a mobile app specifically. So if you're on your phone a lot, like we all are, it's for sure the number one out of everything that I've used. And I'm not tech savvy at all, right? If you're using iMovie or Final Cut or some of these, real kind of movie making, editing kind of platforms, and you're already into that, great. But for most of us, we don't know how to use any of those things, and this gives you the chance to do that. It's created by TikTok. They're not publicizing it just yet, but they did recommend it on the low. I downloaded it right away and am obsessed with it just because of how easy it is to import something in there, edit it, mess with it, add text to it, do whatever you want, and add sounds to it. Whatever you want, you can do within the Via Maker app. And there you can change the size. You can have it for YouTube. You can have it for any of the, Insta stories, all this different, all this kind of different stuff. So in the meantime, before you get too heavy into this algorithm and how do we go viral and this, and this, just almost treat it as a content creation tool and deal with it as a consumer, as a fan, or, just as someone that's just going about their regular everyday thing. Try different things with posting content, seeing what works, testing things out, going to how to TikTok and TikTok tutorials and things like that, and anything else. If there's something that you are interested in, or like the other day, my mom's Logitech computer keyboard just froze and we didn't know what to do. And I literally just typed it in and I said, Logitech keyboard froze, boom. Like all these videos of, hit shift, control, something, whatever it was. And I immediately was able to take that and just say, hey, Mom, this is what you do. And she was like, oh, okay, make you some cookies now. And, so use it to try and help you, along whatever journey that you're doing anyways. Not, all right, what kind of content should I post right now to try to blow up or whatever. Would you suggest filming TikTok as videos, then editing versus shooting from phone on TTP app? I'm not sure what TTP app is, but I would suggest that TikTok. I would suggest that sometimes it's more so you've already shot something, right? Or you already have something, and you don't have time to, open up your TikTok and fucking start shooting. And also, the thing about TikTok, it's more of an editing thing. So I don't think it matters as much where you film it, because now with TikTok, you can upload a bunch of different clips and edit exactly the portions that you want. And let's say you're editing yourself talk and you're saying some different things. You can almost do it even if you're saying and this and this and this. You don't have to reshoot it, because when you're editing those clips, you could literally just zoom in on the parts that you want, and it helps you reorder them. It helps you move them around. It's just like a full editing suite in your phone. So sometimes shooting off TikTok, filming off TikTok is actually going to be better, because you're only going to use maximum of 60 seconds. And those 60 seconds might be broken down into 15-second clips or 30-second clips. So you don't need to shoot on the TikTok app. It's more so editing on the TikTok app. And that might just be adding a finishing touch. Like if I make something in Via Maker, I'm still waiting until the end to add my sound via TikTok, right? Or a sticker, or some kind of text or something that's just simple and easy, like for me to do. But you're not going to be able to shoot and edit on your TikTok app, because then you're not going to be able to capture all the footage that you want. So I would suggest shooting off Talk and editing on Talk. TikTok terminology there. Yep. So yeah, that concludes the majority of the beginner's guide intro to TikTok, and there's so much more to it, but let's definitely open it up if anyone has any specific questions or examples or anything else that they want to kind of say. And then in the next one, we can dive a little bit deeper, because we're all going to be potentially more knowledgeable. Time of day for post, like the way TikTok explains it, does not matter, because it's not chronological. So if it's not chronological, it may or may not post to somebody's timeline. Now, if somebody's following you, then that may matter more. However, that's what they say. But what I've noticed is when I change my account to Pro, one of the analytics that it gives me is it does show me what times the majority of people are viewing and clicking and things like that. So because that analytic does exist, I think that maybe that means that either something is changing or will be changing. And it must be, it probably is important. But since if you have a new TikTok and you don't have a lot of data in terms of the audience that's there, I wouldn't necessarily worry about what time of day or night, you're posting. And I would just create and post, and more so post consistently. Like, don't post 6 things today and then nothing for 2 days, right? Post one thing every day if you're only going to post 6 things, but try to post more consistently and, kind of spread out what you're doing and see what works for you. Depending on the type of content that you're putting out there, it might make more sense to post every other day. And it's not necessarily the quantity of posts, it's more so the duration of time somebody spends on it, and are they engaging and interacting with it. And if you could post more and have the same amount of engagement and interaction, then definitely fucking run that. Okay. Is it wise to mix content that pertains to my business as well as my personal stuff? Well, it depends on, I guess, Keith, what is your business? If you don't mind, sharing with us, what do you do? Photos and videos. Okay, then absolutely. If you do photos and videos, then yes, I would say mix away, because you're able to showcase, your photo and editing skills with your own personal photos and videos sometimes better than with somebody else, because a big part of that is, someone being comfortable with you, and you are obviously comfortable with yourself, your family, et cetera, is comfortable with you. And I would definitely, utilize your own photos and your own personal kind of experiences within that platform. And what you'll see is, since you're already a photographer and a videographer, you have a high level of knowledge in terms of how all these other kind of editing softwares work, you will see how easy it is to on the fly start editing and posting and doing some of these things. And I would for sure say it's okay to mix some of those things. Now, if I'm like a doctor or a surgeon or something like that, it might be a little bit weird to try to like incorporate both of those things together. But for a photographer, a videographer, most of the kind of things that pertain to our world, I think it's totally okay to mix those things. And it's also totally okay to have a business like TikTok and a personal TikTok, right? Because some of the things that I'm personally into, I don't necessarily want to post to Music Business Club, right? Or Ineffable Music or Kali Buds' page. I want to post it on my own page. I have my own thoughts as a civilian. And I think that's okay. And I actually would encourage, especially if you're an artist, to have a personal one for yourself, because sometimes you might have something that's either political or somewhat alienating to others that you still might want to put out there. And you should, if you feel that way, you should do that, but not at the expense of the fans that you've already kind of built out. So it's almost why NBA players have burner Twitter accounts, because they just want to just fucking talk some shit, and they don't want to get fined by the league, which is fine. So you can separate them if you want to, but it's totally okay to keep them together. Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions that you guys might want me to pass up the flagpole to our new friends at TikTok. Just like I was saying, for those of us that are considering utilizing the TikTok platform for advertisements, you don't pull a Kevin Durant, right? I don't really get the analogy there, but that's cool. Anyone that's considering advertising on TikTok, anyone that wants to get verified on TikTok, anyone that has specific kind of questions that are beyond the beginner level, you can send them over to us, and we'll try to figure them out. Locations on TikTok, very good question, Noah. Absolutely. If you have an opportunity to tie in a location to your TikTok, you should do that, because it will increase your chances of popping up in the For You section within that location. So it's definitely a good, way to use a hashtag, especially, or an actual location to go after a target audience. Kind of how we talked about, like, Cali Roots isn't necessarily a location, but maybe it's an event. And if you are using that within your realm, or maybe it is a location like Hawaii or your studio or whatever it might be, you should try to create and incorporate locations if it makes sense and if it fits, right? Don't just put Jamaica because you do reggae shit. If there's nothing to do with it, then don't, just do that, because then it's like, it's not necessarily it's gonna backfire. And yeah, I guess, Kevin Durant lost all favor in my mind once he decided to leave the best team in history and go somewhere I don't even know, some secondary market in the East Coast. Never even heard of it.
Secondary market.
Yeah. He didn't even go to the Knicks. He went to, what was the team? The New Jersey Nets? The New Jersey Nets? Is that what they are? That'll be a separate conversation. Yep. Well, I highly encourage you all to now take your newfound TikTok knowledge, follow each other on TikTok, right? Because just us alone, however many people, 11 people that are left here currently that have withstood the rambling about TikTok, just 11 of us or 12 of us that are here are able to create a wave and interact with each other, leave likes, leave comments on each other's shit, and and return the favor, et cetera, and just play around with it in a natural way. Don't get caught up in the algorithm or any of this stuff just yet. You will as you proceed, but I'm interested to hear your guys' feedback after the initial, like, oh, cool, I'm still seeing these dancing chicks or whatever. And for some of us, not going to mention any names, David Parks, that just might be what you want to see, and that's why they're showing you that. So, at that point, you got to go with the flow. But for everybody else that is into whatever they're into, then, you'll start kind of seeing that content, and also utilize your expertise in whatever that you're doing and put that type of content and energy out there and see what kind of response that you get. Yes. Awesome. All right, guys. Last thing is, don't forget, if you haven't already, sign up for your free membership on Music Business Club, because as you can see, we're going to be doing this type of amazing discussional, non-lecture oriented content. And most of the time, we're going to try to bring in a special guest that actually either works at this place or is an influencer, or that can get us some more insight other than the beginner's level. It's just, when I mentioned to specifically the people that I had lined up, when I mentioned this was like a beginner thing, they were like, I'm not, for the beginner level, you find somebody else. Like, we're, intermediate and above. So I was like, okay, we'll brush up on our TikTok skills, because I consider, myself very much a beginner in all this. But within the Music Business Club, there's a cool section under the forums portion where, you can contribute, and you can also, we're trying to update that daily. If there's artists or other people that, even if they're not artists or industry people, or they're interested in the industry that might be interested, get them on board. For now, it's all free. And we got a lot of really cool stuff, potentially planned. And that's that. Algorithm keeps showing me people getting haircuts. You look, see that? It's already learning. It's learning about you. Learning about you. You might need a buzz. Buzz. Bzz, bzz. Cool. All right. Well, class is dismissed, you guys. We'll see you later, and I'll follow up with an email with some of this stuff and a couple of really cool accounts and videos, and I will see you on TikTok, and you can say goodbye to your sleep, because it's fucking you're not gonna sleep for 2 days. You're just gonna be on TikTok. It's just natural. Just go with it. All right. All right, guys. Goodbye.